Now at 5 a.m., WKYT This Morning live on the air. Police are investigating after a violent home invasion in Lexington. We'll have the details on that just ahead.
A Madison County girl's been missing for 3 years now. No one seems to know what happened to her. We'll hear from the girl's mother coming up.
And the U.S. House adjourned at 3 o'clock this morning after passing a bill on Zika funding, but Democrats are not going home. Find out why ahead on WKYT This Morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Welcome in. I'm Rebecca Smith.
I'm Bill Bryant. Kentucky mornings start right here on WKYT. And today is a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day. We're watching for potentially strong storms.
Yeah, Michael, what can you tell us?
Well, we have two batches. Number one is actually off into the northern zones at this moment. Boone, Kenton, Campbell County, you actually have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. A lot of lightning, very strong storm within this, and that's going to go into effect until 5:30. We have another 30 minutes for this. Now entering the far northern portions of those counties, and then it'll start to slide south and southeast. Next in line, more than likely, if you're sitting along that AA highway or along the river, heads up because it's heading your direction. Bracken County, Pendleton, Mason County, you're going to be next in line as this kind of skirts right across the region, far northern zone. Strong storms are today. Remember, that's the first batch. The next batch actually comes later on this evening and off into the night. I'm going to show you when I expect these storms to pop up and where coming up in just a few minutes.
And we'll see you then. Leading our news, police say a teenager was injured in an overnight home invasion.
This happened about 3 o'clock this morning on Anniston Drive in Lexington. WKYT's Mark Barber is live for us there with details.
Good morning, Rebecca. In the past 5 minutes, I spoke with the grandparents who were tied down during this violent home invasion 2 hours ago. They described for me how 2 men and 1 woman broke in through a back door of their home here on Anniston Drive around 3 o'clock this morning. They say that one of the men had a gun. They say that they were all carrying baseball bats, and they shoved them to the floor and held them there. I'm told that they used some sort of tape to tie their hands behind their back and to also tie their feet together. They say at that point they started asking for money, demanding money. None of them had anything on them, so that's when they say these violent 3 attackers turned their attention to their grandson. They say that they beat him repeatedly with baseball bats, and at one point they think he was even tased by these home invaders. We're told that this 18-year-old boy was taken to the hospital with a broken nose and a concussion. His grandparents tell me that he fought off the attackers, he did not give them anything, and that at some point they left the home. That's when they were break free of their restraints, and they called 911. Now, I've learned that this 18-year-old man's girlfriend was also in the home. She was one of those people who was restrained and held on the floor in these terrifying moments here on Anniston Drive this morning. Police officers brought in a canine unit to search for these 3 people. However, they did not find them in the neighborhood, so for now, they have given up on their search. They say they do not know what may have motivated this violent home invasion. The grandparents tell me that their grandson kept telling them over and over again, "You have the wrong house." So again, at this point, they're still not sure why they were targeted this morning. However, they say they are grateful that their grandson appears to be okay at this point. Now, of course, we will be here throughout the morning. We are working to get an interview with one of those grandparents. We hope to bring it to you here on WKYT This Morning. That way you get a first-hand account of these terrifying moments here on Anniston Drive. That's the latest here on the north end of Lexington. I'm Mark Barber, WKYT.
Well, a lot to sort out still at that location, and we thank you very much, Mark. Scary situation there on Anniston Drive this morning. New this morning, the Boyle County Sheriff's Office is asking for the public's help in finding the driver of a car involved in a hit and run. That happened Monday night about 10:30 near Danville on Kentucky 2168 near US 127. Deputies say a maroon car hit a woman, leaving her with severe injuries. They say the car is expected to have some moderate front end damage. Now we have some of the 911 calls made by people who tried to help a boy who was hit by a car in Pulaski County. 10-year-old Stanley Turner was hit by a car Monday night on Rock Lick Creek Road and later died at a hospital. Investigators still have not been able to track down a hit-and-run driver who they say caused Stanley's death. Police say there were no witnesses. One woman who called 911 had to run back and forth from the landline phone at a nearby home.
Okay, do you know how to do CPR?
I don't.
Okay, do you want me to walk you through it?
Oh, God, I'm not even near him. I'm 100 feet from him. I don't have cell phone service.
Police say they want to question a woman who was driving a red four-door car who was seen in the area around the time of the crash. Well, this morning in Washington, House Democrats continue their contentious sit-in on Capitol Hill. They're demanding a vote on gun control legislation in the wake of the Orlando massacre.
The House adjourned after 3 a.m. after passing a bill on Zika funding, but Democrats are not going home. Weijia Zhang has the latest from Washington.
House to be in order.
House Republicans sought to get back to legislative business overnight.
It adjourned to meet.
Despite the unprecedented Democratic sit-in taking place on the floor, lawmakers shouted down House Speaker Paul Ryan and continued to demand a vote on the no-fly, no-buy bill aimed at prohibiting anyone on a terror watch list from buying a gun.
We'll be here the whole night. We'll be here as long as it takes.
Rise up, Democrats. Rise up, Americans.
Lawmakers led by Georgia Representative John Lewis took over the chamber shortly before noon Wednesday.
Newtown, Aurora, Charleston, Orlando. What is the tipping point? Are we blind?
Speaker Ryan called the sit-in a publicity stunt and said there will be no vote on gun legislation.
We're not going to take away a citizen's constitutional rights without due process.
The TV cameras inside the House chamber are controlled by the Speaker of the House. As the sit-in started, Ryan shut down the cameras. The rest of the contentious and emotional debate played out on social media.
Radical Islam, kill these poor people.
As the night continued, Democrats dug in.
If you don't think the bill is right, come down here and tell us why.
The House adjourns for the July 4th break tomorrow. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Washington.
Things getting heated there. President Barack Obama tweeted support to House Democrats, saying, quote, "We need more than moments of silence. We need action." And that's what's going on in the House now. The sit-in now enters its 14th hour. A historic vote is underway this morning in Britain. We want to tell you about. Michelle Chamberlain's at our alert desk with details.
The polls are open in Britain, where voters will decide today whether Britain should stay in or leave the European Union. Those pushing to leave the EU argue that a British exit, also known as Brexit, can restore power to Parliament and control immigration. Those wishing to remain in the bloc, like Prime Minister David Cameron, argue that Britain is safer and richer inside the 28-nation EU. Either way, Britain's decision is expected to impact Wall Street. We'll be checking the stock market for any indication as to which way today's vote will go, and the polls should close about 5 o'clock our time.
Will be interesting to see. Thank you, Michelle. Police in Louisiana have a suspect in custody for a shooting that killed a sheriff's deputy. This happened yesterday afternoon in Harvey, near New Orleans. Investigators say Jefferson Parish deputy David Michelle had stopped the suspect, who was walking along a busy street. They said the suspect and the deputy then got into a struggle, and the deputy was shot 3 times in the back. He later died at the hospital. Witnesses say the suspect ran off after the shooting, but police found him hiding in a nearby backyard. It is a question no one seems to know the answer to. Just what happened to Brooklyn Farthing? The Madison County teenager disappeared 3 years ago. There is still no sign of her and no word of what happened. Last night, her family and friends gathered at the home in Berea, where Brooklyn was last seen, to pray and release balloons in her honor.
It's like I want to go over there and open that door and think that I'm going to see her sitting there. And I know that's not true.
So sad for that family. Now, 3 years after her disappearance, police are once again asking for help finding Farthing and whoever's responsible for her disappearance. Family members say they just want to know where she is. There's a $14,000 reward for information leading to the return of Brooklyn, or some information on the arrest and conviction of whoever's responsible. Family members ask that you contact police if you've got any information that can help them. You can find the phone number on WKYT.com or the WKYT News app.
The time is now 5:09 here on WKYT this morning. A proposed ordinance in Letcher County regarding where transgender people can use the restroom has been stopped. The Letcher County Fiscal Court had asked the county attorney to research if a local ordinance could be passed, saying the county would not follow any federal directives that allowed transgender people to use the restroom of their choice. But the court voted by a 5-to-1 margin to not pursue the potential ordinance. Good to have you with us on WKYT this morning, and we're just getting started with all the latest news on your Thursday.
A safari park has welcomed a new baby giraffe, named Goose, ironically. See more of this very cute goose. That is not a goose. That's already 5'10", that one.
We'll have that for you coming up. And home sales hit a record pace. Also, a major pizza chain gives new meaning to pie in the sky. We'll have your money stories ahead on WKYT.
First batch of storms skirting right across the northern zones early this morning. The next batch actually pops up later on today. I'm going to show you when I expect that to happen, coming up next. Severe thunderstorm up toward Boone, Kenton, and Campbell County. Now that goes until 5:30, and you can see a lot of lightning within that. Very heavy downpours, lightning, and also possibility of 60-plus-mile-per-hour winds across 27 now as we speak. About to cover up much of the actual region there and some of those counties, and then it slides down toward the southeast. I do expect Pendleton, more than likely, you'll at least get clipped by this, but next in line is going to be Bracken and Mason counties, no doubt about it. So you got to keep that in mind if you're sitting up toward Maysville, Mays Lake, back toward Falmouth. Those areas will expect at least some thunder out of this and getting some heavy downpours. So that the severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 5:30, Boone, Campbell, and Kenton counties. Then we look toward the afternoon and evening, and that's when the next batch actually pops up. So let's go through the day. The first batch is right now. You're actually going to skirt right along that AA highway, right along the Ohio River, and it really just stays up toward the northeast. Now through the day there is a small chance of rain. Can't rule out an isolated thunderstorm. For the most part, it's just about the temperatures, it's about the feeling outside. 92 degrees and also very humid. Then we get off deep into the afternoon, 6, 7, 8 p.m. You start to see those thunderstorms spark up in the northern zones, and then they'll slide southbound. And that'll take you off into the night, too. I would say anywhere from 4 p.m. at the very earliest to about 3 a.m. at the very latest is when all this moves on through. So this is going to be one of those evenings and nights that could be pretty loud for some of us as we're trying to go to bed. The severe weather impacts, we're looking at high winds. Damaging winds will be the main player, and it looks like flooding is going to be our next issue. Tornadic activity is extremely low, but we just can't rule it out. And your 7-day forecast looks like this. Severe threat for today at 92 degrees. Remember, it's going to be later on, late into the afternoon, early evening hours, and then we're sitting there Friday and Saturday holding on to the 80s and 90s. It's going to be a scorcher there for your Friday and Saturday, really Saturday and Sunday, and then we're looking for more storms in the forecast into next week, guys. Got to watch that severe weather threat.
It seems like one after the other after the other.
Absolutely. We'll get a break tomorrow, so there's some
well, we look forward to that. Finally, thank you. It may have stumbled its way into existence, but now this baby giraffe is hopping around.
How cute. The Wild Animal Safari Park in Georgia welcomed this baby giraffe into the world a couple weeks ago. What are you so jumpy for today?
It's really exciting, actually, because it's so little and it's very rare that you get to see something like that.
Well, the baby giraffe named Goose weighs 135 pounds and is already 5'10". Park attendants say he's strong, healthy, and has lots of energy. Visitors can see Goose through a window, but he isn't quite ready to meet the public yet. Park representatives say it'll be at least a few more weeks before people can greet Goose in person.
You go, Goose. He's
New arrival.
Big guy already, you know. But still a baby. All right, time this morning, 5:16 on WKYT.
Stick around, we got to look at your money.
Home sales hit a record pace, and a major pizza chain gives new meaning to pie in the sky. I'm Marley Hall, and I'll have those stories and more coming up in your CBS Money Watch Report.
Hey, good morning. Welcome back in WKYT this morning. We're on the air live from Lexington at 5:19. Home sales are rising at a record pace. A lot of folks getting a new place. And Jimmy John's will stop non-compete clauses.
And it's a new meaning for pie in the sky. Marley Hall has the latest.
Sales of existing homes rose at the fastest pace since February 2007. According to the National Association of Realtors, sales jumped 1.8% in May from the month before to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 5.53 million. Analysts say it's a sign of rising demand amid low interest rates and steady job growth. Stocks wavered on Wall Street Wednesday as investors wait for the results of today's UK Brexit. The Dow dropped 48 points. The Nasdaq fell 10. Jimmy John's sandwich chain has agreed to stop including non-compete agreements in the hiring packets of its low-wage workers. According to the New York Attorney General, the agreement prevented employees from working for any nearby business that gets at least 10% of its sales from sandwiches for 2 years after they left. Jimmy John's has also agreed not to enforce non-compete contracts that have already been signed. Little Caesars headquarters will have quite a view. The company's new digs near Detroit will have 14-foot-tall glass windows shaped like slices of pizza. Construction on the 9-story Little Caesars Global Resource Center is expected to begin this summer. That's your Money Watch. For more, log on to CBSMoneyWatch.com. In New York, I'm Marley Hall.
So if you can't wait for that time of year when Girl Scout cookies are abundant, then you're in luck.
All right. Pillsbury is giving us a way to handle our Girl Scout cookie cravings throughout the year.
That's what we need.
Exactly. You got it. The nonprofit group has teamed up with Pillsbury to offer Girl Scout cookie baking mixes, and they include caramel and coconut cupcake mix, Thin Mints, brownie, cupcake mix as well, and caramel and coconut blondie mix. The retail price for a box is $3.29, actually cheaper than a box of actual Girl Scout cookies, but you have to do them yourself. The mix is available at grocery stores across the country. So there you go.
I guess caramel and coconut would be the equivalent of the Caramel Delights or Samoas, as they're known in some regions. But, you know, hey, there you go.
All right. Didn't know you were such an expert on Girl Scout cookies.
That's the one cookie that I'm obsessed with. I love it.
That's your area, huh? All right, 5:22 the time on WKYT. And your Thursday as we're rolling toward the weekend, and it's so good to have you with us.
We've got a look at sports up next.
On the way next, we go to the Big Apple, where tonight is the NBA draft. Jamal Murray, Scalabissiere. Will we hear Tyler Eulis's name? And also last night, some football Wildcats making some phone calls. I'll tell you about it next.
We have that severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for Boone, Kenton, and Campbell counties. Absolutely waking everybody up early this morning. Far northern portions of Pendleton County will get clipped by this. Also, they've put on a new severe thunderstorm warning, but it's actually north of the river. But I will tell you this, heads up Bracken, heads up Mason. It will come right through your neck of the woods. We may even see a severe thunderstorm warning for you guys here in just a couple of minutes. Let's check out sports, see what's going on.
Tonight, we find out who goes where. The 2016 NBA draft is almost here. Kentucky has Jamal Murray and Scalabissiere as projected lottery picks. Lee K. Howard is in the big city.
And good morning. Welcome to New York City, where tonight in Brooklyn, the NBA draft takes place. And 3, maybe even 4 Wildcats will hear their names called. Jamal Murray expected to be a top 10 draft pick. Scalabissiere also expected to hear his name in the lottery. Tyler Eulis somewhere near the middle to the end of the first round. And Alex Poitras could be drafted in the second round. Any way you look at it, it'll be another big night for the Wildcats, a big night for these players, and they say they're just enjoying the process.
No, we all know what it is. We all know it's a long-lasting process, and you just want the day to come and know what team you're going to, know where you're going to live. So I'm just eager.
You know, it still hasn't hit me yet. You know, I'm still thinking about today and tomorrow, but I think it's really going to hit me on at the table tomorrow, sitting there. You know, just thinking about. You know, I've pictured myself for years working across that stage, and you know, to actually be here is pretty cool. So.
Like I said, it will be an exciting night for the Wildcats as the draft starts at 7 o'clock tonight at the Barclays Center over in Brooklyn. We will bring you interviews from the players as they're selected tonight at 11 o'clock right here on WKYT. Reporting from New York, covering the NBA draft, I'm Lee K. Howard, WKYT.
Now, the city that never sleeps. Yesterday, UK football coach Mark Stoops worked the phones, urging fans to renew their season tickets. Last night, his players were calling fans who had already renewed, saying thanks. Jacob Hyde, Cash Daniel, JoJo Kemp, Garrett Johnson, and Courtney Love spending a couple of hours on the phones.
It's awesome because, you know, you're actually getting a one-on-one, you know, conversation with them, or, you know, just your 10 seconds with them. But, you know, it's nice, other than them just seeing you out on the field and saying, oh, you know, we come to cheer for you. But no, you're actually taking your time and making a personal phone call to them.
They're really important. Their loyalty, when they come out and come and see us play, give us the energy, because we know we come here to change the program around. So being able to see them guys come out there and support us, we want to go out there and give it all we got.
And that is a look at sports. Have a great day.